a voice? Yes, you do.
A scene there from this year's Oscar winner for Best Picture, The King's Speech, from the Weinstein Company. Joining me now, the CEO of the Weinstein Company, co-founder of Miramax Films, Harvey Weinstein. Harvey, it's great to have you on the program.
Hi, Maria. Nice to be here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a fantastic Oscar and a fantastic film. We're thrilled for you. So, The King's Speech, the Best Picture of 2010, winner of 4 Academy Awards, your first Best Picture win since a pretty public period of loss for you after you sold Miramax to the Walt Disney Company. Is Harvey Weinstein back?
Let's hope so, for my sake.
It was really an interesting story to watch. A movie about the British king. Not necessarily the type of film that's a perfect fit for mainstream America. And yet it resonated hugely with the country. What is it about a story that makes you know or feel that it will resonate with an audience?
It was emotional. And that's how I felt when I did the first Best Picture I had was The English Patient. The second was Shakespeare in Love. You think about it. People used to say to me, anything with the name Shakespeare, and it was a definite, financial bomb. And this movie ended up grossing $300 million worldwide, Shakespeare. English Patient, too. They said, period piece. To me, it's about the emotions. This story of a king and a so-called commoner who is defiant to his king, and a king who learns to love life himself and gets over bullying. It's just, you can't miss with a story like that, in my opinion. And yet everybody always says to me, make Iron Man, make some Marvel comic book story. That's not what I'm about, and it's not what appeals to me.
What's going on right now in the business? It seems everyone's trying to come up with films that can go 3D, that can, be animated. Talk to me about what's changed.
Well, I think, the business has become, a comic book business, and I think, interestingly enough, Marvel has done a very good job because they do it well. They make those comic book movies with intelligence. Watching Robert Downey Jr. in both Iron Mans, that's virtuoso acting, tour de force. But what I don't like is that the business has become, a situation where people say the dramas. Today, I wonder if if the Grapes of Wrath would be greenlit by a studio, if How Green Was My Valley would be made by a studio, if they really, Mrs. Miniver or The Best Years of Our Lives, if it wouldn't be so-called relegated to some independent financing. So it's really, and I think what happens is you lose that classic movie, and you lose, look at the profit ratio, since it's the Wall Street Journal, $14 million movie, The King's Speech, is going to gross $300 million. Wow. It's a lot better than a $150 million or a $200 million movie that grosses $300 million.
Has the digital age, has 3D, has that dictated any change for the way you approach the business, the movies that you want to make?
It certainly has made a change in the way they approach the business.
But not you.
The 3D in my movies is great dialogue. The 3D is the scene with Helena Bonham Carter, Colin Firth, and Jeffrey Rush, because there's 3 of them. Yeah. That's my 3D.
That's called 3D. What does an Oscar mean to you in dollars and cents? How important?
It's hugely important in terms of getting an audience to see something that they might not see. So on the pure economics of it, you take something like Chicago. When we won the Oscar for Chicago, we had grossed $100 million, and pretty much we're at the end of our career in the theaters. We won the Best Picture and grossed another $75 million. And it's a global effect because the Oscars are seen in every country in the world, and they mean something. It is the definitive award for motion pictures on a global basis.
And it does trigger even more business after the Oscar, because people say, okay, that's the Oscar winner, I'm going now.
It's a small company in terms of what it will gross after the Oscar. I would reckon that in terms of worldwide gross, the Oscar is worth $100 million minimum to this company.
Let's talk about the campaigning required today. How does it compare to your Miramax days in the heyday back in the 1990s?
Well, in those days, I used to go to Warren Beatty's house, babysit for the kids, clean the curtains, and do all and do the windows. But today it's much more subdued, and thankfully so. Probably we were the cause of some of the overexcitement, too, because when we first did the Academy campaign, we realized the economics would be great, especially for our kind of movie. When I first broke into the business, the movies that got nominated were these big, bombastic studio films, and we were like a slingshot with My Left Foot. It was the first Best Picture nomination that I had.
Oh, wow.
You know, and here's a movie that, you know, nobody wanted to quote see, and again, by being nominated and Daniel Day-Lewis winning Best Actor, audiences did come and see that film. But it was me, I was really David versus 7 Goliaths. So I had to, you know, put something in my slingshot, you know, so it was fun, and, you know, we would do outrageous things to get attention, and we used the Oscar to help the independent film movement grow.
Your next film, quite a departure from the King's Speech. Talk to us about Mural, directed by Julian Schnabel, about a Palestinian orphanage in Jerusalem. How difficult is it to tell stories about a part of the world that is volatile politically?
I'll tell you how difficult it is in personal terms. My mom, you know, was so happy for my brother and myself winning an Oscar, you know, when we won it for King's Speech. And now she's deciding whether to talk to us again because of Mural. But it's all good because she's not the only one. There have been people all over this country who are also threatening us in one shape, form, or another. I think Julian is so brave to tell this story. It's written by Rula Jabral, and it's her life story about a young girl growing up practically an orphan, going to a school, wearing uniforms the same way kids wear them in Spence and Nightingale and schools all over America, and yet the school is in Palestine, and this woman did unbelievable things. But it's told from a different side of the story. It's told from a woman being innocent, being Palestinian, and the Israelis breaking in and coming in and, you know, taking her in and, you know, torturing a confession that didn't exist because she didn't do anything. And there's so much of it to see from that point of view. If we don't look at it from that point of view, we'll never understand it. And today, with what's happening in Libya, Egypt, Yemen, you know, not to embrace and understand what's going on, I think we make a huge mistake. It's a controversial movie. There's no question about it. You know, fasten your seatbelts watching this one. But nonetheless, so important to do it. And I will take the criticism because that's really what I do.
Harvey, great to have you on the program.
Thank you, Maria.
Congratulations.
Pleasure to see you.
We love the film and love having you here.
Thank you.
Harvey Weinstein,
pleasure to be here.
joining us.